25th. May I have a roll call, please?
Chairperson Moe.
Present.
Vice Chairperson Gator.
Present.
Trustee Palafis.
Present.
Trustee Mills.
Present.
Trustee Stanton.
Present.
Trustee Arnett. Present. Mayor McLeod.
Present.
Okay, all accounted for. We have a quorum. The next would be the approval of minutes for August 21st.
So moved. Second.
Second. Are there any changes, deletions, additions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
No nays, motion passed. Under new business, we have 9 items. Beginning with item number 1, request approval of an ordinance declaring village property surplus and permitting the sale of personal property owned by the village.
So moved. I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Seeing none. All in favor?
Aye.
No nays, motion passed. Item number 2, recommend approval of a request by K. Hovanian Homes for a resolution for the acceptance of the public improvements at the Bradwell Estates subdivision.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Anything to add on this? Nothing? We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
No nays, motion passed. Item number 3, request authorization to award contract for the 2017 Drainage Improvements Project to Prime Construction Incorporated of Hampshire, Illinois, which was the low bid, in an amount of $45,880.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions? Okay. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
No nays, motion passed. Item number 4, request authorization to award the contract for the 2017-2018 winter tractor rentals to Casey Equipment Company out of Arlington Heights, Illinois, which was the low bid, in an amount not to exceed $20,800.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Yeah, winter already, wow. All in favor?
Aye.
No nays, motion passed. Item number 5, request authorization to waive bidding and purchase a replacement camera component for the sewer inspection system from EJ Equipment out of Manteno, Illinois, sole original equipment manufacturer, in an amount not to exceed $40,819.36.
So moved.
Second.
No question?
No, it was a tie in the boat here for a second.
Say what?
Never mind.
Nothing.
okay.
So we have a motion and a second. All in favor? No nays, motion passed. Item number 6, request authorization to award contract for masonry, tuck pointing, and restoration of the Village Hall, Public Works Center, and Fire Station 22 to Safeway Tuck Pointing Company out of Des Plaines, Illinois, in an amount not to exceed $23,155.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and we have a question. Trustee Stanton?
How old are these buildings that need tuck pointing already?
The Village Hall, the Public Works Center, and one of the fire stations is what we're going to try to do this year.
No, I know that, but I mean, how old are the buildings? How old is this building?
1980.
Okay.
Yeah.
Public
Yeah.
Works is
Public
86,
Works is
87.
Late 80s.
Whoa, who's got us?
And the fire station?
In the 70s,
70s, yeah.
That one I can understand, the 80s,
if you walk around this building and look,
it's falling apart already.
and we've had them inspected, that's why we're recommending them, we've had the buildings inspected.
Okay.
We've had this item in the CIP for a number of years, and we've kind of pushed it and, pushed it, and now we think we're going to do it, and we actually got an excellent price, so we're going to move forward with it.
No, I agree. I'm just disappointed that these buildings are falling apart that fast.
We didn't build this one.
I know that, but whoever did. All right.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second, no other questions, right? All in favor? No nays, motion passed. Item number 7, request authorization of change order number 1 for the cured in place lining of 244 feet of elliptical storm sewer pipe with Visu Sewer out of Pewaukee, Wisconsin, in an amount not to exceed $71,612.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any questions? Trustee Stanton?
Are we sure that this is going to work?
we've been told by Sewer that they've done this work before on this size pipe. They've not done it with elliptical pipe, so we're optimistic that they can. If they can't, then they'll drill out. They'll be able to line the inside, but there might be pockets or folds, and if the pockets or folds are to the point, once we televise it, that we think it's gonna impede the flow, they can go in there and actually cut those sections out. So we can probably get, even if it's not 100% successful, we can probably get, 95% of the pipe lined successfully. And the biggest part that we're worried about is where we have the huge hole in the bottom. There's a pretty good sized hole in the bottom. We want to try to get that taken care of without having to excavate, given the NICOR gas line. So
Sure.
we're pretty confident. Busy Sewer's done work like this before. The fact that it's elliptical and it has a little bit of a kind of a dog leg left is a little bit of a challenge, but we're pretty confident they can do it.
The increased efficiency of the plastic lining should offset some of the, if there's some folds, with the plastic lining being a little smoother overall, it would help offset some of the hydraulic loss that the current corrugated metal pipe has.
How long would this lining work for? I mean, how much years do we get out of it then?
Oh, the linings are rated to last 40 to 50 years, and they're structural. So even if all of the corrugated metal pipe corrodes away, the lining, once it's hardened and been set, it's its own pipe. So it's structural and will have structural integrity. So, we're confident, we shouldn't have to touch it for quite some time.
Okay, great.
Awesome. Okay, seeing no further questions, we have a motion and a second. All in favor? No nays, motion passed. Item number 8, request acceptance of the Department of Public Works monthly report.
So moved. Second?
We have a motion and a second. Do we have anything to add? Nothing? Okay, and we have a motion and a second. All in favor? No nays, motion passed. Item number 9, request acceptance of the Department of Development Services monthly engineering report of the Transportation and Engineering Division.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Do we have anything to add at this time? Nothing? Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? No nays, motion passed. President's report?
Yeah, a couple things. One, if you're watching this live, or you're going to watch this telecast on tape delay, so to speak, we had some equipment failure, so Bruce Andrews was able to fix it up so he still televised the meeting. It's just not the high quality that I think people are used to, but they will be corrected in the next few weeks, so we'll be back to normal. Pretty quiet week, basically. Wednesday, the 20th, I participated in the Northwest Municipal Conference legislative meeting, and at noon that day, on the 20th, we had the fall lunch and entertainment by the Commission for Senior Citizens, who always do an outstanding job. Thursday night, I stopped by the Chamber Golf Outing reception. Trustee Mills and I did. We didn't golf. We just went to the after reception. Friday, the 22nd, I attended the Northwest Suburban Alliance Domestic Violence Breakfast, the Wendell Jones Breakfast. That's always a very moving and wonderful event. And on the 22nd in the afternoon, we had the legislative update luncheon with our legislators. It was very informative, and I think we all learned a lot. And on Saturday, the 23rd, we had the Hoffman Estates Museum Program, 100 Years of Education, from the 1870s to the 1970s. And later that day, there was a block party on Newcastle. Today, I participate in the Transportation and Infrastructure Transit Subcommittee for the National League of Cities this afternoon, and tonight we're here in our meeting. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. We have nothing under other items in review. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
All in favor? No nays, we are adjourned. Motion passed.
Yes, I'd like to call to order the Public Health and Safety Committee, September 25th, 2017. May I have a roll call, please?
Chairman Gato?
Present.
Vice Chairman Palafis?
Present.
Trustee Newell?
Present.
Trustee Mills?
Present.
Trustee Stanton?
Present.
Trustee Arnett? Present. Mayor McLeod?
And thank you, and we have a quorum. Number 2, authorization of the minutes, August 21st, 2017.
So moved.
Second?
Any corrections, deletions? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Under new business, we have we have 8 items. Number 1, request authorization to waive the bidding and purchase new fitness equipment for fire station from Direct Fitness Solutions, Mundelein, Illinois, in the amount not to exceed $22,550.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions up here? Chief? Either one.
No, nothing.
Nothing. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Number 2, item number 2, request authorization to waive bidding and purchase 7 Bullard brand thermal imaging cameras from Dingus Fire Academy, Amboy, Illinois, sole source vendor, in an amount not to exceed $50,365.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Chief, would you like to explain some of this on there? I don't know which one is, I'll turn mine off.
Sure. This is a replacement of a number of our units that we currently have. They're older, that we've been maintaining them all along for a number of years. This is a replacement of a good chunk of them. We're going to keep actually a couple of our best ones that we're going to use for our ambulances, but this is to replace all the frontline apparatus, and the company officers use these cameras to go in and search fire situations, emergency situations, to try and locate victims or the fire when we're going in to fight a fire.
I know in just reading of what they were saying and so forth, and the testing of it.
Right.
So we are going to just keep 2 of the original ones, or the older ones?
There's a total of 14.
14?
Yes. So
And
the
normally,
7
how long do they last?
Their manufacturer's recommendation is 7 to 10 years, depending on the model. These current models we're looking at are on a 10-year life expectancy.
And with new technology anyways,
That's just
they're
that it's
probably
new tech-
obsolete tomorrow morning.
Right, that's just it. I mean, yeah, they're selling it as a 7 to 10-year life expectancy, but it is technology, so it changes so rapidly.
And they're so important, and I'm glad that we see that Hoffman Estates Fire Department has up-to-date, especially the imaging equipment. Any questions from the board? Seeing none, Karen Mills?
Yeah, I just want to compliment you. It looks like you put them through quite the test, too. So you didn't just take someone's word for it or a salesman. You really researched them with the different projects. So I remember back, I think, when you first got those first thermal cameras. And it's excellent that we could get this going again. Thank you.
Trustee Stanton?
I'm just curious, with our testing procedures done, excuse me, were the companies happy with this? Or did they allow us, how did they allow us to use those for testing?
The testing that was conducted pretty much followed the standards that are out there, so we just verified that what they're supposed to be able to do, they were capable of doing. Especially the drop test, where we actually physically do drop them repeatedly, to make sure that they keep working, as well as submerging them in water and making sure they'll come out and function.
Are the company people there with you when you're doing this testing?
In some cases, yes, and other manufacturers, no. They're just confident enough in their product to know that I mean, they'll do that even at their shows, when you get to the different vendor booths, they'll actually take their equipment and drop it right in a bucket in front of you.
Really?
In our case, we were able to take them back and do testing of our own also.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thanks very much.
Any other questions?
They're made by Timex.
Pardon? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Number 3, request authorization to waive bidding and purchase Genesis extraction tools for Tower Ladder 22 for Equipment Management Company in Shanahan, Illinois, sole source vendor, and an amount not to exceed $37,900.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion and a second. What would you like to add to that?
We found that we had purchased tools like this for engine 22 and engine 24 already. And we found those tools to be just excellent tools for us. The speed at which we can use them, the power that they generate, It basically surpasses the hydraulic tools that we've had in our truck, the old equipment that we've had. This is replacing that equipment, making it much more accessible to get the tools used right away, as well as saving space and weight on the vehicle, which we need in the new truck that we have to make sure that we can carry all the equipment that we need.
I know, because when I was reading in here that the equipment can be put on the new equipment and the squad can be what, eliminated?
Yes, we've already removed our heavy rescue squads from service back earlier this year.
Okay.
So the equipment that was on that squad, we had temporarily moved over to our new truck. But we found that the efficiency of the electric tools far surpasses the hydraulic tools. And those hydraulic tools were older, so we're replacing those with this new electric tools, and it's excellent tools for us to use.
Very good. Any questions from the board? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Number 4, request authorization to waive bidding and purchase structural firefighting clothing as follows. A, 5 sets of structural firefighting clothing to MES Illinois, Deer Creek, Illinois, sole source vendor, in amount not to exceed $12,525. And B, 7 sets of structural firefighting clothing to Air One Equipment Incorporated, South Elgin, Illinois, sole source vendor, in an amount not to exceed $17,871. I need a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second.
Second.
Any questions from the board? Chief, how long do these suits normally last, or what does the manufacturer say?
It's usually about a 5 to 7 year lifespan, depending on the wear of the garment.
And what's the reason for taking 2 different companies?
The way they're actually cut. So rather than one, like a pair of pants, some pants fit better than others. Same with the turnout gear. It's based off of the feel of how the gear moves for each firefighter, and some like one manufacturer and others like another. So we're giving them the option to whichever fits and moves best for them.
But it's not tailored to the fireman?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's cut to length,
Right.
And size, but not specifically tailored to them. No.
Good. Any questions from the board? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Number 5, request acceptance of the police monthly report.
So moved. Second.
Motion and a second. Chief, would you like to add any? Nothing to add. Any questions from the board? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Number 6, request acceptance of the Health and Human Services monthly report.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Dr. Sabitra, nothing to add? Any questions from the board? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Number 7, acceptance of the Emergency Management Coordinator monthly report.
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions from the board? Seeing none, any questions from here? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Number 8, request acceptance of the Fire Department monthly report.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Chief, what would you like to add? And, well, you know what? I have a letter here from, yes. Of course I do. Somebody has to. From Linda Bailey. And she says, I would like to take the opportunity to express my sincere gratitude to the Hoffman Estates Fire Department, Station 21, for the outstanding care and received following a recent fall in my home. My husband Jim and I moved in Hoffman Estates in 1958, and I have never needed the assistance of paramedics until last week. The professionalism of the team, compassion they demonstrated during my care, and their attention to all aspects of this emergency made my first trip by ambulance for a broken arm much more comfortable. The fire department responders treated me with the utmost respect. Their number one concern was for my well-being and care. Due to their fabulous active listening skills, and a wonderful sense of humor, I have emerged from the adventure with a broken arm, but not a broken spirit, which is a great feeling for this 81-year-old Hoffman residents. Thank you for the fine gentlemen, Steve, Tim, Greg, Mike, and Steve from Station 21 for doing their job with such excellence. However, I know this level of excellence is how they conduct their jobs every day. I wish them all thank you for it, right? And it was nice that she wrote that. Let's see, President's report?
Nothing else.
I'm
Nothing
sorry.
else.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. President's report?
Nothing else, Mr. Chairman.
All right, I have nothing in other items in review and looking for an adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. We are adjourned. Thank you.
I'd like to call to order the Finance Committee for this evening, September 25th, 2017. Could I get a roll call, please?
Chairperson Palafis?
Present.
Vice Chairperson Newell?
Present.
Trustee Gata?
Present.
Trustee Mills?
Present.
Trustee Stanton?
Present.
Trustee Arnett? Present. Mayor McLeod?
Present.
Thank you. We've established quorum. I'd like to entertain a motion for the approval of minutes for August 21st, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. 8 items under new business. The first is discussion regarding the village program concerning acceptance of credit card payments and processing by the finance department. Rachel, you want to?
So this item is for discussion. We're hoping to get feedback from the committee. As you're aware, the village accepts credit cards as a form of payment, and we've done so for many, many years. And it's always been our policy that the village absorbs any credit card fees that are charged by the credit card merchants or processors. But over the last couple of years, however, those fees have, just because of the increased activity, those fees have become a much larger part of our budget. So recently, with what has happened with the state of Illinois taking some of our revenues, we really took a deep dive into looking at our budget to see if there's some cost-saving measures that we could take a look at. And this was one of the ones that showed up on our list about the credit card fees and possibly passing those along to the payer. We receive almost 4,000 payments by credit card each month, and the village currently spends about $140,000 annually on credit card fees. And that's charged about $105,000 goes to the water fund, and the balance goes to our general fund. So we just wanted to bring this before the committee to get your view, your feedback on this policy, this potential policy change.
Mr. Norris?
Just a quick addition. When the village first starting accepted credit card fees, we estimated that first year or so it might be around $20,000 in credit card fees, and that was pretty accurate. And the board at the time said, we will just absorb it. There was discussion at that time about the extent that it could grow, and that what really would happen if it did grow is that other water customers are in essence paying for the convenience of somebody to use the credit card. Now, it's a benefit to the village to get it, but if you think about it, because I'm using a credit card, those who are not using a credit card are subsidizing that to the tune of the water fund amount, and it becomes an issue, and that's why other communities have begun looking at it as well. It really has become more of an issue of equity, not just the issue of the fee cost itself.
Thank you, sir. Trustee Gata?
The thing is, I'm noticing on here that the credit card companies are charging 1.6 to 3.2.
Correct. We have several merchants that we're dealing with right now.
And why can't we pass this on to the resident?
We could, we have that option. It's a matter of if the board feels comfortable with
So
doing that.
after we're done taking questions, if you want to make that motion and we get a second, we'll vote on it. That's what we'll do.
Okay, I mean, $140,000, that's,
It's a bunch of money.
holy Moses, there's no question about that. All right, thank you.
Trustee Mills?
Just for clarity's sake, now, people who do direct deposit or through checking accounts, people like that, none of them would be charged this fee?
That's correct.
Are we charged for that also?
Anyone who pays directly out of their bank account would not be charged a fee. It's only people who use their credit cards.
Okay, but we're not charged by the banks for the direct deposit.
The village pays banking fees for ACH payments and direct deposit. They're minor, it's a simple process. So yes, currently the village absorbs those fees along with all of our other banking fees.
So, but this is strictly people who decide to pay by credit card.
Correct.
And the state does that if you renew your license plates online, so. It's very common practice to do that.
The county
now.
does as well. I know every
Yeah.
time Bev goes to file a document, she wants to pay with her village credit card, but doesn't because the fees are pretty high, so.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
So we're incenting people to pay with cash or checks. Trustee Gata?
What would we charge the resident?
We would instruct the credit card companies to pass their exact fees onto the resident. The village would not make any kind of profit off of this.
Okay.
So whatever that percentage is that the credit card company is charging would just be passed along, depending on which method you use.
But they would inform us of what they're going to charge, is that correct? And we would have to approve that with them? Or they can charge anything that they want?
No, it's the fee that they give us, as you saw in your packet, the 1.6 to 3.2.
3.2?
Yeah, we know that by company, and that's what their fees are. So that would be the exact amount per company that would be passed along.
Okay.
And we are looking at going to basically one credit card company in the relatively near future, hopefully, and that would become just one fee.
Okay, very good, thank you.
Trustee New? Welcome back.
I understand, you know, the dollars and cents bottom line, but I also feel for the people that are on the other side of this because that $1, $2 and everything else going up is kind of rough. But how are we going to inform everyone? Are we sending like a letter with the water bill or say, okay, from this point on, if you're going to use credit cards? I mean, how do we notify the residents? Is it going to be in the Citizen or something saying that future, I don't know, I don't understand.
We definitely, if the board makes that policy decision, we definitely could put messages on the water bills. We would have signage at the front counter with our credit card machines, and then messages online when you pay, so that people are clear that those fees will be added.
Right, because, you know, if they're used to not paying that, and then all of a sudden, you know, now you have to pay that percentage.
We would definitely make that known.
Okay.
Trustee Mills?
But when they're going online, say, and they make a credit card payment, it will tell them what the fee is going to be.
They'll see it right away.
Okay, as long as they're aware of what the fee is.
Correct.
And
That's the main thing.
anecdotally, we can tell you that the majority of our seniors don't use credit cards.
No.
They use cash or check, because that's what they're comfortable with. And frankly, a majority of our low to moderate payers do as well. So it's really people who have traditionally used credit cards for paying utility bills and that type of thing, and they're used to seeing that charge passed along. You buy a ticket for a concert and an arena, there's a convenience fee. It's very typical in the business now.
Any other questions?
I do.
Oh, Trustee Gata.
If we do approve this, when would it go into effect, or how much time would we be able to give the residents?
We have a lot of time. I haven't even approached the credit card companies yet about this because I just wanted to get the feedback from the committee. So I'll definitely start reaching out to them. Like Jim said, we also have the option of changing all of our credit card agreements and putting them under one umbrella. So we might look at doing that
At
first
that time.
quickly, and then we could make this change. So we're probably looking at several months before this actually takes effect.
So you're thinking to come back to us in maybe 60 days or so? or
No,
something?
we're thinking that if you give us direction to do it, that'll go to the board next Monday night, and it'll be approved to do it, and that we will probably take the next 60 days or so to go through a process to make it happen. But we would not need to come back to the board. But we know we need to factor in time for public relations and information to get out, for the changes to be made, for the online transactions to occur. And it's going to be, as Rachel said, she hasn't even talked to them yet. We want to see what the committee thought first. So it's going to take 60 days or so.
So
I would say somewhere around probably December 1st.
Why don't we just make it effective January 1st, beginning of the year? I would think that would make sense.
If that's what the committee directs, the board directs, that's fine. We were thinking that we could get it a little bit sooner than that, but remember we lost money from the state starting July 1.
Yeah,
But you're only talking a few months. I mean, October, November, December, at least that gives the residents an opportunity to see it and decide if they want to pay by check or cash or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think seeing it will change anybody's mind. It's really the convenience factor. Most people are willing to pay for that convenience. And again, you're talking about 1% to 2 to 3%. It's not, for the people who are using credit cards, it's probably not an issue for them.
So we need.
But whatever date the board picks is, we'll go with. Should
I
be
like
part of the
December
motion.
1st myself versus January 1st.
So are you making a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
And your motion will state that we proceed forward with the date of December 1st, 2017.
And collection of the fees, yes.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second.
Second.
Any other questions, or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Item number 2 is request authorization to purchase 7 metal detectors for the Sears Center Arena from Rapsian Systems of Torrance, California, in an amount not to exceed $24,782.50.
So moved.
Second?
Motion is second. Any questions?
Just hate to see it happen, but
I was going to say the
I guess
same
it
thing.
has to.
It's an unfortunate thing we have to bring before the board, but just staying ahead of the times, I mean, at some point, while I don't want to go too deep into our security protocols, every place you go that has a high degree of public exposure and that's considered a semi-soft target, they'll start doing metal detectors. So we're just kind of going with the times. We already hand wand, we already back check. This is just enhancing what we're already doing, making it easier and more thorough. So, but yeah, it's unfortunate, but it is reality. So it won't get better, it'll get more thorough. You know, we'll have to invest more money into it, so people feel, I mean, they are safe now when they're in the building, but, you know, there'll be more heightened presence. So, yeah, it is what it is. So, you know, this will be one of hopefully not too many more of these types of discussions, but, you know, we feel confident it'll just further enhance everyone's sense of safety, but they're already safe when they're in the building.
Trustee Mills?
If a detector goes off, then do you have someone right there to do a wand check?
Yeah, so the personnel's already there, they're trained. More times than not, there's a Hoffman PD officer
Okay.
stationed in the lobby. So if someone who has concealed carry, they have to go back to wherever they're going to go back to return it. If it's an officer, then we have a discussion and we handle on a case-by-case basis. But more times than not, 90% of the time, Hoffman PD is on site right next to it.
That's what my next question
Yep.
was, if we needed more personnel there.
Yep, no, the protocols are in, it's just changing equipment.
Trustee Stanton?
are we going to need to take out our cell phones and keys and all the rest of that stuff like we did?
Typically, yes. The equipment is sophisticated, so belt buckles and keys typically don't go off because there's a sensitivity rating. But more times than not, when you go to the Cubs or the Bears, they do ask you to take everything out of your pocket just so we don't have any false, alarms.
Right, are we going to have little baskets to put on?
Yeah, so they come with accessories, so there's, very similar to the Cubs.
Accessories.
Yeah. There's it's a ramp that you push your stuff through, and then we,
Okay, so they come with a conveyor belt kind of thing too?
not so much, not nearly as fancy as that. It's more like a slanted piece of plastic. But it moves through the magic of gravity. Yeah, so I don't think people will notice. The idea is that you don't notice how intrusive it really is. When we were wanding before, you're getting a body scan, manually someone's going over every limb in your torso. And especially with children, it was kind of I thought it was a little jarring for people who probably aren't used to that. So we think this will be more thorough and I think less kind of impactful to the customer's experience.
Now, I noticed also that this is good for up to 5,000 people, but if we have a crowd of 11 to 12,000 people, what do we do?
Yeah, so that'll be a combination of renting units and hand wanding. So this will address a good portion of our events, and then the events that go above that will, most buildings either rent them for every event. I thought it best that we have some in-house, and then we can rent as needed. Obviously, that becomes something we're renting on a regular basis. Purchasing makes more sense. The technology is getting cheaper every year. These units used to be $5,000. They're now half that. And from what I've noticed, you check in with something every 3 years, there's a substantial savings only because there's so many more folks entering the market to sell the same units.
Sure.
And I will tell you, from an industry standpoint, security is the number one thing people talk about at every conference. It's the main thing. That and PA systems are 1 and 2. So what we'll see is more vendors coming with very similar technology, but it'll drive the price down as things go on. But the company we selected, everyone we asked, was highly regarded. These are the units they use at Arlington Park. These are the units they use at the Chicago Art Museum. But everyone who pitched were all excellent companies, so we weren't really having to worry about quality and the reliability of everything. But yeah, it's an unfortunate conversation to have, but it is reality.
Thanks, Ben.
Are they going to be fastened to the floor?
No, we
You'll be able
will,
to move them in and out?
yeah, they'll be on casters, so we will move them in. As you guys may have noticed, the lobby always kind of changes configurations based on the event, how much time, so yeah, they'll not move too much, but yeah, they'll be in different positions as needed.
All right. Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Item number 3 is a request authorization to waive formal bidding and award a contract for the purchase of 8 semi-ruggedized laptop computers and accessories for use in police department vehicles to CDS Office Technologies in an amount not to exceed $32,680.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any questions, comments? Fred, anything?
Just a standard yearly replacement that we're going through.
Okay, super. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Item number 4 is a request authorization to award a multi-year carnival contract to Modern Midways Incorporated in Steger, Illinois.
Wait, did you skip 4?
I did skip 4. I'm on 5. I'll go back to 4, though, I promise. For carnival services for the Northwest Fourth Fest.
So moved.
Second? A motion and a second for number 5. Sorry about that. I'll go back to number 4. Any questions or comments about the carnival? Mr. Stanton?
Everybody on the Fourth Fest has been happy with this company?
Yeah, I
Or
would
the
say so.
majority, yeah.
Overall, for the most
Yeah.
part, yes. Individual commissioners have certain issues with them, but nothing major.
Okay.
This wasn't exciting as some of our other issues.
Yeah, like number 4.
Yeah.
I actually got to know the carnival folks pretty well because we did the disability carnival this year, and they're a nice group of folks. Some communication lapses, but, you know, they were right on it, and, you know, they do a lot better when we have entertainment backing them up, but nevertheless, they like coming to the event. I think there's only one, us and one other in Chicago that they do at that given point of the summer. But they're nice people overall, from my experience. So any other questions or comments? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Back to number 4, the more lively discussion. Request authorization to award a contract for stage, sound, lights, and backline equipment for the 2018 Northwest Fourth Fest to Diversified Audio Group Incorporated, Edison, Illinois, in an amount not to exceed $16,820.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions, comments? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. On to number 6, request acceptance of the Finance Department monthly report.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions, comments? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item number 7.
I'm sorry, I do have a question, or at least a comment regarding our Finance Department monthly report. I was wondering, I've been noticing that we're kind of off on some of our projected figures for the hotel tax, the home rule sales tax, the telecommunications tax, and our fines.
Right.
And I'm wondering if we can kind of shave those down to match closer next year's.
We already have, trustee Stanton. It's actually what we reported to you in the mid-year budget. We said that those revenues, specifically the hotel tax and the sales taxes, were not coming in, and we actually gave a reason, if you recall, on one of those. And it's not just Hoffman Estates. I've been in several meetings in the last 2 to 3 weeks where I've asked fellow managers what are they seeing in sales tax, and there's a general consensus that car sales are a part of that downturn. 1 and 2, many are seeing 1, 2, 3% decrease overall, even though their number of retailers aren't changing. And the school of thought is internet sales are really impacting. And so we have already adjusted them down in for next year. And that's actually making the issues of the state taking money away even more difficult when your traditional revenue sources aren't keeping pace. So it's an interesting budget year we're already into for next year.
I believe it, although I seem to be looking at that we're doing a pretty good year anyway this year so far.
And as we said in the mid-year budget memo, we've actually had, a very good year on the expenditure side. So we had the relatively mild winter. We didn't have nearly as much overtime. We didn't spend nearly as much on salt. You don't spend as much on gas. Gas prices being down as low as they are, petroleum prices being down, we're saving money in there. And with those things, it offsets the revenue. And that's why we still think we'll end the year on a positive note for 2017. But for 2018, those revenues have already been adjusted.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Help remind me, did we vote for that?
Yeah.
We did, yeah, you asked the question after. Okay, thanks. Just wanted to make sure. Didn't call the vote twice. Item number 7 is a request acceptance of the Information System Department monthly report.
So moved.
Second. Motion is second. Any questions or comments? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Item number 8 is a request acceptance of the Sears Center monthly report.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is second. Any questions, comments?
Just a comment, I have to thank Ben for making the print a little bit bigger for the general manager's update.
I put my best men on that.
Font size matters.
Yes.
We're not getting any younger, Ben.
Took months of research, but I got it done.
And while you're there, you want to add anything else?
No, pacing, oh, sorry. Pacing, the year looks really good. See, you can't do pacing. You can't say pacing on this. All right. Really strong. So everything's ahead. As of right now, we have Cirque du Soleil coming in November. Opening night for the Windy City Bowls is November 4th, so please get your tickets now. It's going to be our strongest fourth quarter, I think, maybe ever. So we have Cirque du Soleil, a bunch of basketball games, and we have the Northwestern Ken Craft Midlands Wrestling Tournament, which is one of the biggest collegiate wrestling tournaments in the country. So that's literally the 28th, 29th, and 30th of December. So it's really exciting because a lot of times December can be kind of quiet, so we're going to have a lot happening. So it's going to be a good year. Sponsorships and suites are way up thanks to the new bowls, so that's very exciting. We have 14 new suite holders, annuals, adding to our existing suite holders. So I think we have a total of 30 as of right now. So we are near a sellout for the current setup for the Windy City Bowls, so I think we have 2 suites left. So the push is to get a complete sellout, and there's a couple local Hoffman companies looking at them. So we'd be very pleased if they actually were the last 2 to buy the final suites. But everything's been very positive. This month, actually, we spent a lot of time making some repairs and cleaning in anticipation of November. It looks likely we won't have an open weekend from November 1 to mid-June so far.
Nice.
If things pace along. So we're getting in our quiet time now. But yeah, it's very exciting. So good stuff so far.
That's great about the suites. You'll have to drop that curtain soon.
It would make things
The mayor's
very-
going to have to call Michael Reinsdorf.
100%.
That's right. Go down and, tell him he's got to drop the curtain.
I do
Trustee
have one
Stanton?
more question. The Bulls, I noticed that for their scheduling, they have like 4 games in November, maybe 3 or 4 in December, and another 4 in January. And then the bulk of them seem to be February and March. Is there a reason for that?
I don't know, kind of they have showcase tournaments, I believe it's in January, so January is hard for them to schedule. And there's All-Star break in February, so they have to work around those 2 big weekends, but they back-weighted a lot of games last year, too. I don't know if that's purposeful or they prefer that. Personally, I prefer having games later because it gives us more time to market and just kind of get the momentum going. At least in minor league hockey, the games after January 1 always did the best. I don't know if that was just people's mentality, but people kind of started thinking indoors once we got into the dead of winter. So I think those games do better versus November, December. But
Okay.
yeah, I don't know if they particularly asked for those or that's what they get.
All right, thanks.
One other note is Levy's fiscal year ends September 30th, and they've had a pretty good year as well.
It's been a good year. The suites held with their catering numbers. We've had a couple good F&B nights. Ironically, when they end their fiscal, we will start November, December with very strong numbers for them. So their first quarter will be strong as well, which always helps. And it's enabled us to add staff, which enables us to handle more events. So it's been good. It's been all very positive the last, I would say, 18 months. So fingers crossed it continues.
Outstanding, thank you. Any other questions, comments? All in favor of the motion for the request of acceptance of the Service Center monthly report, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Moving on to President's report. Anything left, sir?
Nothing left, trustee Palafis.
Nothing in other, no items in review. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries.